Hi. I'm here early. Hold on. Let's start this the right way. One moment, please. Oh, I've never been caught early. Hello again. Happy to have you guys all here. My name is Janelle Villiers. I am your host of the Other Side podcast. I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. For those of you that are new, I talk about all things in terms of mental health and being on the other side of the mental health journey, as well as being on the journey of being an author and giving tips for that. You might be thinking those two things have nothing to do with each other. But for me, they have everything to do with each other. The reason why is because my first book that I wrote, if you don't already know, I wrote a book called I Slept with a Married Man, Am I Still a Good Person? And it has to do with all things mental health. So for me, they are intrinsically interconnected. And so I like to talk about both of those topics. They're my favorite. And so today I wanted us to talk about those of you who might have a goal to get your book published in 2025. I have spoken to a few people actually now who have a goal of publishing in October. So I need to publish a book in October. Help! What do I do? How can I get this done? So I wanted to talk to you guys about that. You may have seen this and thought to yourself, oh man, I really need to get some tips. And so I'm excited to have you here. As you guys all know, I have my notes. So let me make sure I get all my notes together. That way I don't want to miss a thing. I am not a good singer, so don't, no judging, please. But that's the song that came to mind when I was thinking, I don't want you to miss anything. Okay, so let's first talk about why you need a strategic roadmap and how to create one fast. So let's just think about this really quickly. Road mapping. The roadmap is important because if you have a goal of publishing your book or releasing it on October 1st, let's say, as opposed to October 31st, but if we use October 1st as the example, you're going to need at least 21 days to have your book be available for pre-order. So 21 days from October 1st, you're looking at somewhere like around September 10th-ish. Okay, so by September 10th, your book should be uploaded to all of the different Ingram Sparks, Amazon, which is KDP, any of those things that needs to be up by then, which means the formatting needs to be finished and completed by the 10th and also uploaded. So that means you are spending probably the 3 weeks before September. This is now when I need to get my calendar. So if you are doing that, that means you need to spend the 3 weeks before that in formatting territory. So that means 1, 2, 3. So the end of August, you should start, let's say the week of August 25th, you start the formatting process. So that way by September 10th, it's done and uploaded. And then before that, you're in editing. So editing takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So let's say the full 6 weeks. By July 21st is when editing starts. That means you have between now and July 21st to write your book. That gives you a little, I would say about 2 months. You've got 2 months to write your book if you want to get this thing out by October 1st. So this is exactly, you guys just saw in real time how I reverse engineer the timeline. It's the number one thing that I do whenever people are working with me. You got to figure out your roadmap. And the first steps of the roadmap is you got to reverse engineer what you're going to be doing. So we need to figure out what those deadlines are. What are the non-negotiable deadlines for distribution setup, the printing, the pre-orders, the editing, the formatting, all of that. And then you build in a couple of buffer days for things that you may know where delays may occur, right? So I just basically did all of that for you guys in real time. You can also do a phase-based planning system. So you have clear phases. I also did that for you guys where you have a writing phase, an editing phase, design, formatting, all that stuff. and then assign specific weeks to target each of those different phases. Sometimes the phases can overlap, and that's totally fine, but at least if you can like earmark certain weeks for different phases, that works. Again, I just did that for you guys in real time. And then some people do like a kind of like a priority approach where they're like, all right, this must be done versus this would be nice to be done. And then you focus on the essential components that must be done first. That's what I would suggest. You could either do any one of those. You saw me do 1 and 2 in real time, but reverse engineer the method. So you just work backwards from your deadline. The second way that you can do is you can do a phase-based planning. So you're going to be doing different phases, and you allot or earmark certain weeks for those phases. And then another thing that you can do is like do a priority approach where you're like, all right, this is what I must have done, and this is what would be nice to have done. And then based on what's on the must have, and eventually start moving the nice to be done to the must haves, and then you get it done that way. So one of the other things I want to talk about is how to choose the right support without wasting precious time. Because here's the deal. If you're at crunch time and you're like, all right, I got 2 months to write this thing, how am I going to actually write it? And so one of the things that you can look at is what I call a 48-hour decision framework. Research the different options for a maximum of 48 hours. You're not going to be doing any more research after 48 hours, and then create a simple scoring system. 1 out of 5, I think is best. Don't do 1 out of 10. And then you can even interview those top 3 candidates with specific questions about the timelines for each. The second thing is you do like a skills gap assessment. List exactly what you can do yourself versus what needs outsourcing, and then prioritize hiring or getting someone to help you with the things that you need help, the weakest areas first. You definitely want to work with professionals who have done rush projects before. That would be really helpful. And the third thing that you could do is you can look for a one-stop shop person, right? Consider someone who can do the full service. So to minimize coordinations between different people, right? And that will save you time if you have one place that does all the things. So you want to evaluate hybrid solutions like editing and formatting, packages. So people offer packages, and ask for referrals to trusted partners to build your team quickly if you're going to look for people to outsource to. So this is how to choose the right support without wasting precious time. Make decisions. You give yourself 48 hours to research, figure out exactly where your skills are the weakest, and then hire someone to help you with those parts. And I would say look for people who offer packages. That way you don't have to do like coordinating between different people. It's all done in-house, one-stop shop. Say that 3 times fast. Okay. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is quality speed balance that ensures that you'll be proud of your finished book. So you want to think about non-negotiable quality standards. Define for yourself what is the minimum acceptable quality for each component. What's the minimum acceptable quality for the cover, let's say? What's the minimal acceptable quality for how the book is formatted? Maybe you're like, it doesn't need to be like that fancy in terms of formatting, but the cover needs to be like knock it out the ballpark type of thing, right? And then you allocate most time to the elements that readers may notice first, right? So for many people, that includes the story. Your story is going to need the most time because guess what? It's going to need to be edited because that's what readers are going to notice, obviously, right? Like the cover could look nice, but if the story's crap, I mean, they may just put it down and tell people not to read it. Although you could be like, all right, so that means the editing needs to be absolutely amazing. The cover maybe is like, it's like close to what I want, maybe not exactly, right? Just enough to get people to open up the book because you want them to read what's inside. The other thing that you can look at is the progressive refinement method. This basically is you complete a full rough draft quickly and then layer the improvements or layer in some of the details about what's going on. So you focus on structural you're going to focus on structural edits before line edits. I know that. That's what we do all the time with Say That Publishing, looking at the big structure before we look at line by line. Use beta readers for targeted feedback on specific concerns. Highly, highly, highly recommend that. Highly recommend beta readers. I love being able to walk our clients recently too through how you can use beta readers and how effective they are in giving you feedback. So that way you can make sure the book is at the quality and the standard that you have in your mind. And then think about the 80-20 quality focus. So identify the 20% of effort that creates 80% of the quality of the impact. So for example, you're going to want to prioritize professional editing over multiple self revisions. Please, 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 please hire editors. Winston and I love editing our people's work because we are authors ourselves. We know what it's like. We know that this is your baby and we just want to enhance what you've written. It's not about taking it and smacking it and be like, this is ugly, this is awful. No, it's about enhancing it and making it better. All right. So finally, what I wanted to talk to you guys about, first of all, sorry, if you're getting value from this, if this is helpful, please put a V in the comments. I do read all the comments. Please, please, please let me know. If you're someone who has a goal of writing a book in October, maybe November, if you're looking at that time, please let me know too. Please pay attention to what I'm saying because this will be really helpful for you as you are navigating your goals. But let me know. I read all the comments. Would love to hear what you've got to say. Hey, everyone. So this is great. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about are realistic timelines for editing, design/formatting, and publication. So you really want to give editing at least 4 to 6 weeks minimum. If you can give more of that, I would even say give more. But I have found with working with all of our clients, and we now have 5 best-selling authors, it really does take 4 to 6 weeks. And sometimes we'll be meeting twice a week because we have this like deadline that we need to turn around really quickly. But I find that when that happens, it gets like when we try to turn around in 3 to 4 weeks, even though we meet really quick, like a lot in order to make sure that deadline happens, what I would say is that it creates a level of anxiety with the authors that is hard to really describe or put in words as I'm thinking about it. And the reason why is because you're so focused on your work and you're reading your work over and over and over and over again. You start to just think like, I don't know if any of this is good. Is it at all worth it? Is it like, I don't even know. And I found that those who had longer periods of time to work on the editing didn't have that kind of pressure and anxiety as much. It was a much more enjoyable process. Let's just say that. So it's doable, but it's just more enjoyable if you give yourself more time. So at minimum, 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. You give or take, like the developmental editing is going to be essentially the whole time. Then you have the line editing or copy editing that takes about a week or 2. And of course, you're going to be there looking through every single time things get edited, right? It's a team effort. And so you want to make sure all of that is happening in a timely space. The formatting, oh my gosh, please give at least 3 weeks for formatting. There's so many things that go into this. The cover design takes at least 1 to 2 weeks, including the revisions, right? I don't like this, move this around. The interior formatting takes at least a week, sometimes 2. And because then I should say it takes like an entire week, 1 week probably for the interior formatting, but a whole other week just to make sure that it's prepared in a way that it's acceptable for submission into Ingram Spark and KDP. So just allow it that time because the crunch always creates anxiety, and also mistakes are more likely to occur because you're just trying to get it to be accepted rather than making sure that all the things are covered, right? And then finally, production and distribution setup. Let's just talk about the distribution setup. So after you upload everything, then you want to take a look at the proof, right? So you definitely want to make sure that you have a proof sent to you so you can take a look at it as the author and make sure, oh, here it is in my hands. This is what it looks like. So it takes a week for you to get the proof and then to accept it. So you want to build that in and take that into account. Then there's the pre-launch preparation. I would say 21 days. I've been working with Melissa, who is the CEO of Missing Piece Solutions, who's been helping a lot of our authors with the marketing of their book. And she really sticks to, you need 21 days. 21 days for a pre-launch, which means the book may be finished and uploaded and all the things, but you're giving people 21 days to actually pre-order the book, right? So you want a lot of pre-orders before you, this is a lot to do with like optimization for bestseller. But yeah, the pre-launch and pre-order period is really crucial. You're giving people time to know that you even have a book that you're about to do, right? There's a lot of like marketing that goes involved with that phase. And then at least put in a week or two for corrections, like anything that needs to be corrected, whether formatting, whether it's the editing of the story itself, the cover, whatever it is, just give yourself a week for just knowing that there's going to be some corrections that need to be made at some point, someplace in the process, even if it's choosing a category that your book is going to be in. So those are the things to really think about when you're trying to be realistic for timelines in terms of publishing your book. All right, so again, if this is helpful, please let me know. Put a V in the chat if you find this valuable. And please let me know what you feel like you're going to implement for your project. Would love to hear which specific thing that you would like to implement. I read all the comments. All right, so I'm going to do a rundown. You guys know what I love to always just do a final rundown of everything we talked about before I let you go. So why do you need a strategic roadmap and how to create one fast? You just need one, because without a goal, an arrow without a target is going to miss the target every single time. So you need something to shoot for. You need goals. You need milestones in which that you're going to use in order to get to the final goal of publishing October 1st. So the best way to do this is reverse engineer your timeline. Start from October 1st and then figure out, okay, what happens between October 1st, pre-launch. So you need 3 weeks for pre-launch or 21 days. Okay, and then before that, right, and then you literally reverse engineer all the different things that need to take place. That's how it got us to, and you guys saw me do that in real time. If you're just jumping on, you probably missed me do it in the first, oh, awesome. Verity, I'm so glad this is helpful. If you missed me doing it in the very beginning, go back and catch it in the very beginning. I actually in real time reverse engineered the timeline method. I also used a phase-based planning system as well. You can include in that a priority approach where you're like, these are my must-haves versus these are my nice-to-haves. And eventually you keep moving over your nice-to-haves into your must-haves and you get it done that way. So then we talked about how to choose the right support without wasting precious time. So give yourself only 48 hours to do your research, right? And then you're going to go figure out which people you want to work with. Try to figure out where you're weakest and then hire people or outsource people to do the things that you're weakest at. And the third thing is just find somebody who can do everything for you. Honestly, the one-stop shop, especially because we're under a crunch for a timeline, is essential right now. At Say That Publishing, I'm really excited to say that we are now doing everything in-house. We do the editing, we do the formatting, we do the publishing. We even now have partnered with Melissa with Missing Piece to even do the marketing bit. So I'm really excited to be able to offer packages that include all of those components. All right, the quality speed-based balance. It's the quality versus the speed. I mean, really, you got to just figure out what's non-negotiable in terms of the type of standard that you are setting for yourself. If it's the cover, you're like, absolutely, cover has got to be knock 'em dead type of cover. I'm not taking anything less. Awesome, then stick to that, because that means some other things maybe won't be at such a high quality, because not everything is going to be at the highest standard of quality when you're rushing. Right? So if speed is the issue, if you need to get the thing out, just know that not everything is going to have the highest quality. You may want to figure out another way to get things done in a quicker time is just like doing a full draft outline almost, or do like a really bare minimum rough draft and then put in the details and the different components as you go. That actually helps you get the manuscript out a little bit faster. And think about how beta readers could be a really significant help for you right before you actually put it out. And then identify 20% of the efforts that will create 80% of the quality impact that you're looking for. And then finally, we wrapped up by talking about the timeline for editing, right? So a realistic timeline for all the things, for editing, for the formatting, and for actually publishing. Editing is going to take you 4 to 6 weeks minimum. But if you can get it in, If you can take longer than that, please do. Just take the longer time. Believe me, it's a lot less anxiety provoking for everyone if you have more than that. So put that into your calendar, to your schedule as you plan. The formatting. Expect formatting to take, again, 3 weeks. That includes cover design and all the interior formatting, as well as preparation and testing it to making sure that it's supposed to look the way that you want. And then finally, for the final distribution and the publication, you want to make sure that you put in a week for getting, it takes to get a week to get your proof, right? Your author proof, to take a look and make sure that it actually looks the way that you want it to. When you get the author proof, it'll look something like this. I don't know if I showed you guys this before, but it'll say not for resale across it, right? And on the inside, but you can see what it looks like. So you're like, okay, this is good. I like the way this looks, or I don't. I want to change some things. But you need to give yourself a week for that. Please have a pre-launch of at least 2 to 3 weeks, but we all know that pre-orders take 21 days, ideally. I mean, if you get less than that, it's just not as long as of a runway, but we really like when we have 21 days for pre-orders, and that's all included in the pre-launch. And then don't forget, there's always going to be at least 7 days for just random corrections throughout your process. So it might be distributed 7 days here, there, and everywhere, or it could be like a whole week at the end or a whole week in the middle or something like that. But just know that you're going to spend at least 7 days just correcting things that you didn't even know needed correcting along the way. All right, there you guys have it. I've given you a lot of information for those of you, my friends out there, who want to publish by October 1st or maybe November 1st, October 31st. If that is you, follow these different tips. They'll be extremely helpful. Learn from a lot of the mistakes that I have learned along the way. Please, please, please learn from my mistakes. And of course, I am here to work with any of you. Please reach out. I'd be so honored to be able to be a part of your team that gets to publish your book. I truly believe that a book can change a person's life, and I can't wait to read yours. All right, everyone, that's it. I'll see you next week. Take care.